Since we have a bunch of new subscribers, I thought I'd today just talk about where we're at on the farm, what our goals are, and a little bit about upcoming projects, things that we're doing, as well as just give you an overall tour of the farm. So we live on just over 4 acres, and we are trying to raise as much of our own food as we can. It's impossible to really be self-sustaining because there are things that you're just never going to grow. Things I know I'm not going to grow that I use almost daily: wheat flour. Potentially sugar can be grown here, but at this point I'm not growing sugar. We'll never have my own salt. Never have a way to produce my own salt, I don't think. And then there's a lot of vegetables that don't grow well here in the tropics. I don't use a lot of those vegetables, but some of them that I am not going to stop using are onions, carrots, garlic. Those can be grown in parts of Panama, but where I am, it's really hot, and it's unlikely that I could grow them here. Probably not impossible, but close. All right, so let me tell you about the farm. We live on just over 4 acres, and the animals we have currently on the farm are sheep, chickens, and ducks. And we do use them for meat, and the chickens and ducks are also used for eggs. So they are egg-laying chickens and ducks. The ducks that I raise are Muscovy, so they're really typically raised for meat. But I haven't used them for meat as much as I possibly could. And then the plants we have on the farm are pretty extensive. So I'll take you through that and show you what we have. Okay, I'm starting by the house. House is right here. And we have coconut, and I have, I think, 5 producing coconut trees, as well as 6 that I planted, I want to say 2 years ago. So I have a lot of coconut, and if those of you saw the video 2 weeks ago, you know I have a lot of coconut. But I am growing turmeric. This is all turmeric. I have turmeric in the garden as well. This is an orange tree we cut down. It grew from the roots. And that's one thing here. Some things just grow, and no matter what you do. And some things you can't get to grow. But this is going to end up probably, I don't remember what kind of tree I cut down, but I think it was a bitter orange. It was not very productive while I was here and then died. So this one will definitely be a bitter orange, but they're pretty common around here because they use them for chicha. So, and those that are new here and aren't familiar with Panama as much, chicha is basically any juice that you add sugar and water to becomes chicha instead of just juice. So lemonade is a chicha because you don't just drink the lemon juice, you add sugar and water. This is an avocado tree. I have 5 of them now around the property. Some just planted this year, some planted last year, none of them producing. These over here right up against the house are peppers. And peppers are in the tropics perennial, so those will continue to produce. I'm showing you some of my interesting stuff that I don't often talk about. This right here is vanilla. So it's one vanilla vine. It looks like it has ants on it. I may do something about that. But vanilla is an orchid. It has yet to produce leaves. I was told to use some fertilizer, and I do have some, I think, natural fertilizer for orchids, so I may spray that. I have 2 lemon trees that are new on the property. I have a lime tree that is producing. And this is my garden, my fairly unsuccessful garden for the most part. But this is Cuban oregano. I have way too much of it. I have to clean that up and organize. More pepper plants that aren't doing as well as the ones over there. I think because of the grass growing here. This is my air prune bed. I've shown that in a couple of videos, and I'll link one here. But this is moringa that needs to be planted out pretty soon. This is ballow, which is used, it feeds the sheep, but it's used as a living fence. This is a mango that I need to replant. And then these are guanabana or soursop. Behind it is more turmeric. And this is lemongrass, ginger over here, culantro over here. In the U.S., you don't see culantro. I'll show it to you. It is a leaf, smells and tastes a lot like cilantro. But if you don't like cilantro, because it gives you that soapy flavor in your mouth when you eat it, culantro doesn't do that. So I used to view it as culantro was used in cooking and cilantro was used raw, but they're really interchangeable. Here are my sweet potatoes growing here. I pulled out one of the turmeric plants that were here because I thought they were competing with the sweet potatoes. My sweet potatoes here were doing better without the bug eating them, and I thought it was because of the culantro, but the bugs are now kind of getting at the sweet potatoes. So we'll see what happens there. This is actually a tree that I should have replanted. I'm going to have to move. These are weeds. This is a strawberry plant. Doing okay, not doing really well. The bugs have gotten to it. It looks like it's putting out some new growth, so that's good. It had this sweetest strawberries, but they were like the size of my thumbnail. So I had these teeny tiny strawberries, but they were delicious. And it only gave me about 4 of them. So we'll see, but hopefully that'll grow. Planted in here is a whole plant of passion fruit. So I'm hoping to cover my fence with passion fruit vines. We'll see how that goes. We'll see if we get any passion fruit. But that is in here. It is covered with dirt, and then there is some compost on top. And we just recently cut all these flowers down. They will come back, but we're hoping, again, to put the passion fruit there. So a few other oddball things I have over here. This is an orange tree. I have quite a few of the bitter orange trees. There's 2 different types, and I have some of both. I do have an elderberry plant that is not doing very well, so I've got to clean that up. Let's see what else. As you can see, I don't have a lot of vegetables. I have not been successful with them. I don't think I'm going to go into the covered garden because there's not that much in there. There's more turmeric. I just planted some ginger. There is okra growing in there, but it hasn't flowered. Now, I checked before I planted the okra in there. I knew that okra would probably do well in there because okra likes heat, but it hasn't flowered, and I have no idea why. I was saying I checked that it didn't need to be, it could self-pollinate, and yes, it can, but it's not even flowering. So I don't know what's going on. I don't know if it still needs time or if it's just not going to flower. But anyway, okra is doing really well in there. I have radishes in there, but that's it. Here is all my sweet potatoes. They're all getting eaten, and again, I don't know why. I am going to plant some more. I have a lot more growing. Here I have a few interesting things. So this is prickly pear. It's never produced, and I need to get more info on it. I don't know how prickly pear grows. I know nothing about it. It was here. It looked like it was pretty much dead, and it's coming back. So I'm leaving it. I was going to try and move it, but I have to do some research on that one. Okay, so moving on, we have bananas. We have plantains. These here are pigeon pea, and they are not mine, actually. So Ulysses planted these for his family, and I'll probably get some of them because they're all doing so well, but they're really his. He asked if he could use my property to plant them, and of course I had the space, so why not? These vines here are all yame. Yame is a true yam, and it grows prolifically here. I can't say I planted them. They were here when I moved in. I've dug some up, and when you dig them up, you just take the top and put it back in the ground, and it'll grow for next year. And then last year, I didn't dig most of them up because the grass had really overgrown around them, like it's doing right here. And you really need to come in here carefully with a machete and cut this so as not to cut the vines. And we didn't do that last year, and I couldn't find a lot of them. So I left them. What should happen this year is they should grow even bigger. So the one that was there last year will feed the new growth. So you'll see there'll be like a little bit that isn't that great, and then there'll be another like bulb that is doing really well. So I should have some really huge yame this year, and tons of it, which is good because it'll store well in I would say a cool, dry place, but there's nothing cool here. So it should still store well. I also have growing among my sweet potatoes over there, which are purple sweet potatoes. They call them camote here, and in the U.S. they're usually called by the Filipino name of ube. But among those, I do have some yame growing there as well, and that's the first time. And I just didn't dig them up. I figured I'd leave them. I also have some taro growing. Not doing well, didn't do well last year, but a few of them came back. I planted about 38 of them, and the dogs or some other animals dug them up. So I have 3. I think I have 4, but we'll see how that goes. And then over here is my yucca or cassava. Makes tapioca flour, the vegetable yucca, a few other things. And I will use that. So I mentioned earlier that one of the things I can't grow is wheat flour. And that's true, but I can grow coconut flour, which is not a replacement for wheat flour, but can be used in some recipes. I can grow yucca flour, and I have lots of plantains now. We just planted a whole bunch of new plantain trees. And I can use plantains to make plantain flour. And plantain flour is the closest one-for-one alternative to wheat flour. But I'm not sure it'll work in things like bread, but we'll find out. We'll test that at some point. Then I have a guava and another fruit tree. I don't know what it is. Over here, you guys have seen my star fruit. I have a lot of guanabana or soursop. I have some pineapples that have never done extremely well. They keep getting cut down, and they'll, hopefully someday make some fruit for us. But this is all these trees are plantains. Another thing I have that hasn't produced, but we just trimmed it quite a bit, is tamarind or tamarindo. This year I got a few pods. and I didn't do anything with them, but it hasn't really produced. Oh, another thing I walked over is my fig tree and my mandarin orange trees. I have 2 mandarin orange trees that are not yet producing. They're young. And I have a fig tree that is producing, and it's tiny. But I get a fig here and there, and hopefully one day I'll get enough to make some fig jam. So that's all around the house. So as you can see, I have a lot of fruit. I also left out the fact that I have this odd fruit here. I have a lot of fruit and I have a lot of root vegetables. And typically, root vegetables here are eaten pretty frequently, like almost every meal. But I'd like to get some more green vegetables, purple vegetables. Okay, so this tree, I will link a video to this. It looks like it's doing pretty well, but it doesn't seem super healthy. And what it produces, this is not a good example, but they call it a peach here. Ooh, there's bugs in there. They call it a peach, and that's probably why it's not doing well, because I never clean up under it. But maybe I'll do that this year. You can see they fall and they get bugs in them, and then the bugs will impact the next year's fruit. It's a bitter fruit. I used to know the scientific name of it, but I can't remember. I'll look that up and put it in a comment below. But we do have a video where we made, here you can see up high, there's a lot of yellow fruit up there that's ripe. The only thing I've ever made with it are smoothies with a lot of sugar, because it's really a sour fruit. Some people love it. It's not my favorite, but I'm happy to have it as something different. I have made like a peach butter, like an apple butter would be in the US, and it actually is a great fruit to go with, to layer in a layer cake. Because when you make the butter, you're adding a lot of sugar, but it still has that tartness to it that kind of balances out the cake, the sweetness in the cake. Other than that, and milk, and not milkshakes, smoothies, I don't know what you'd use it for. So since this is a whole farm tour, I don't want to skip over the sheep shelter. Those of you might remember my pear tree fell onto the sheep shelter. It's going to be a while before I repair it. It's not really leaking into the sheep shelter, just on this patio. So we're not fixing that right away. And as we enter this gate, we enter into the pastures. My sheep today are in pasture number 2. We have cut back pasture number 1. They were in here for 4 days, and unfortunately we don't have a good door there, so they can come and go, but they're not really eating out of here since we cut it back as low as we did. I have seen them nibble in there, which isn't ideal, but right now they're doing what they're supposed to be doing in pasture 2. You can hear the thunder, so hopefully we'll get through this tour without too much rain. My camera is not waterproof. Okay, so this is my portable sheep shelter. It is the next project on the list because being in the rainy season, they really need shelter out in their pastures. What we do is when it starts to rain, we let them back in. There have been a few days where they've been out in the pasture. I haven't been here. It's rained. Normally, the rainy season, we see rain in the afternoons, early evenings, overnight. But occasionally, you get rain during the day. And they're fine in the rain, but they don't like it. So it would be better if they have a shelter. So what we're doing for this right now is we've got to change the roof line so that it's not flat because of the rain. we're just going to lower it probably about 3 or 4 inches. And then the other thing we need to do is change this. I think what Ulysses is thinking is he can just cut this a little bit, but the wheels are hitting the casing. I don't know what you call it, but the wheels aren't rolling properly because they're hitting the I don't know, what do you call that? The casing. The other thing I was going to do is take one of these doors off. This door right now doesn't open, but it could. And the reason I was going to take it off was to make it lighter. But now that I have the truck and I plan on pulling this with the truck, what I was going to do is take a door off and then take the height down to save some weight or to reduce the weight. But now that I'm going to probably pull it each day with the truck, I'm not going to do that. So it's an easy fix. We just got to reduce the roof line a little so that it's slanted at an angle so that the rain runs off, put a roof on, and then fix those wheels. I'm thinking it'll probably take about a day to do. I need to buy a little bit of equipment. I need to buy the roofing. We're going to use plastic roofing because the zinc roofing that's on everything else is way too heavy. So I'm buying like white translucent roofing, which should be good. I'm hoping that it lets a little sun in without letting in the heat. If it is getting too hot in there, I mean, the sides are open, but if it's too hot, we'll paint the roof. But that's the plan. That's our next big project. Probably about 3 weeks away from getting that done. Just because we have small stuff to do around the farm. Okay, this is I should probably call this pasture number 1, but I don't. So this is really, I guess, pasture number 6, and this pasture has all my citrus, or a lot of my citrus trees in it. I was told to cut them all down. They're in bad shape. So I do plan on planting more. You can see they've just been eaten massively by termites. But if you look up, they're full of oranges. So I am not planning on cutting them down right away. If they fall down, they fall down. But 4 of these 6 trees are full of oranges, and I'm going to plant more orange trees, but I'm going to plant mandarin orange trees. I think that's my plan. I have 2 other mandarins in other places, and then it'll take a few years before they're fruiting. So I think we'll leave these and take the fruit that we get from them. This is another citrus tree. I actually do believe this is a lemon tree, but it's in really bad shape as well and probably does need to be cut down. It's pretty much dead. I believe the sheep killed it. But, and then we have a few other trees. I think this is a citrus tree. That's a dead tree. There was another tree that did come down. This tree, you could see we cut a lot of it off, trying to make it healthier. And I think it has helped, but it's still not very healthy. So, so that's this pasture. That's all that's in this pasture. And then these 5 pastures out here, they're all small pastures. The sheep can probably stay in there about 5 days in each pasture, maybe more. The ideal is 3 days in a pasture because then there's really no parasite pressure on the sheep. And then we're cutting the pasture after they leave it for 2 reasons. One, because the strong sun will help kill the parasites instead of giving them the opportunity to multiply. Because I don't have 90 days. I think that's the life cycle of the parasites. I could be wrong, but I think it's 90 days, and I don't have 90 days worth of pasture. I probably do if I subdivided better, but if I'm moving them every like 5th day, 3 to 5 days, I really only have about a month's worth. And that's fine here, because even though I cut this back, in a month, this is going to be plenty tall enough for them to eat out of because it's the rainy season. Now, as the rainy season ends, I'll have to probably stop cutting the grass and let it grow so that they have more greenery to eat during the dry season. Last dry season, I hardly used hay. My sheep actually eat more hay. They're weird this way. They eat more hay during the rainy season because they don't like to be out in the rain. So they won't go out. They'll stay in their shelter and eat hay versus going out and eating the greens. Now, this is the area that I actually used to call the orchard because it has so many trees as well. This one the sheep killed, it's a lemon tree. Luckily I planted a few new lemon trees. And this one has my little surviving cacao tree. Not sure. Oh, this is another lime tree without much fruit on it. This is a Nancy tree. This is the one that gave me all the fruit this year. I have a few others. Nancy is also called golden spoon. This is a noni tree. I have about 6 of these in my property. Don't know what I'm going to do with them. I will not eat the fruit. Most people will not eat the fruit. It's supposed to be a cancer cure or something, but we won't eat it. I have seen that you can make vinegar from it, but it's supposed to age an awfully long time. So I haven't done that, haven't attempted. This is also a noni tree. This is a tree that the trunk is normally good for wood, but somebody cut it down without asking, but that's a whole nother story. And now it doesn't have a real trunk. So the sheep love it, so they get to eat off of it. They actually ate all the bark off the other pieces. But anyway, this is going to be my second bench right here in the middle of this, this area. We're gonna solidify that, but this is a great spot right between 2 really nice citrus trees. And it'll be a nice spot. And then if you turn around, you can see this is the chicken area with all my banana trees. Okay, so let me take you into the area that's slowly becoming a food forest. Again, I've shown this before, but this is the area where we're growing grass. We did not need it for the sheep, and they don't like it when it gets too long. So what we're doing instead is we're using it as ground cover. It'll grow a little more. We'll cut it back and put it in the food forest as ground cover, mulch, nutrition, whatever you want to call it. We do have a door between these 2 areas. It keeps getting left open. I'm not sure why. Okay, so this is the area that is slowly becoming the food forest. What we have in here now are 2 rows of fruit trees and food trees, not just fruit, and a few other trees around, as well as some rows of stuff to use for mulch. So let me show you that. This is row number 1. You can't see it extremely well, but we start with a cacao tree. That's a plantain tree and a cacao tree. And then this is my Brazilian grape tree. I had something over here that died. This row is still quite wet. So some of the things didn't last. This is moringa, coffee. Coffee could use more shade. Papaya, which is coming back. We'll see now that the rain is starting again. I think the dry season was really good for it. I will probably weed around this to give it some help. I don't know if it's going to make it, though, because it's just too wet. This is a ballow tree, which is really there for chop and drop and for shade. These were moringa trees that didn't make it. I replanted a bunch of moringa trees, and then it stopped raining. And I just have no the rain is coming. I have no irrigation out here. So these have not really made it. But here's another coffee tree, a plantain tree, and another ballow tree. And those are all new plantain trees over there. I don't think they really have enough sun where he put them. That's not where I would have put them. But what do I know? Then this second row, this is a moringa tree that's just starting to come back. This second row, again, like I said, is kind of a chop and drop row. So what we have here is the same grass that is growing over there, as well as some lemongrass that's doing really well, that I'm hoping will help keep the insects away once we have fruits and whatnot. This third row is mostly, it's like a 2-year row. It's not forever because most of the plants here only need 2 to 3 years. And it's mostly pineapple, which is not doing so well. It should be growing out of there. And cassava. And the cassava is doing well. Here's another pineapple that's not doing so well. They're just not coming back like they should. Cassava that's just getting started. Maybe not getting started. Yeah, it's just getting started. Moringa. And then cassava, pineapple. Looks like someone attacked that pineapple. This cassava looks great. So cassava is yucca here. But it's the same thing. Here's a nice looking moringa, cassava, pineapple. None of the pineapple looks great. I cut the pineapples in quarters, which has worked for me in the past, but they seem a little more finicky that way. So what I might do is just eat a few more pineapples and put the tops in, and these might come back. But the cassavas look good. The moringas on this row look really good. Oh, and this pineapple is coming. So here you can see, let me see if I can show that to you. See how it's budding? I just got all dirty. It's budding right out of the cut part. And that's exactly what it should be doing. I think the other ones actually are a little too deep. And they're not coming out of there. So let's see if we could save that one. But that's what's supposed to happen. They should bud right out of the center. And if you look at a pineapple growing, it grows mostly out of the center. So these should be growing from where they were cut. This one is at the right spot, but it's not growing at this point. So this one doesn't look as healthy in general. Okay, and the next row is the same chop and drop row of lemongrass, moringa, which again, these are the ones we planted and it didn't rain till last night after days. So it's just starting to come back. But we've got lemongrass and a little bit of the grass from over there. And then what else do we have in here? We have an orange tree that's coming back. We have a mango tree that doesn't produce good mangoes. So we planted another mango tree somewhere. I don't remember where. We have quite a bit of citrus in here. These are all citrus trees. This looks like an avocado, but I'm pretty sure it's not. I'm pretty sure it's a mamey. It's a fruit I have never seen before. I've not seen it in the stores, even here. But they planted a bunch of these here, and we'll see if how they do. I don't know what this was. That might have been one of the, I planted a bunch of mahogany, tropical mahogany out here, and they haven't done well. I think they all died. I planted 4 of them, and I think all 4 died. Here you can see, this is not moringa. It is either avocado or mamey. I think that's how you say that fruit. And then there's another one here. This one isn't doing so well. So, oh, and there's another one over here, also not doing so well, really brown. So we're hoping it rains again tonight, and we'll see what happens. So let me, let's walk around and I'll show you the chicken area. Okay, now we're in the dog pasture. So this pasture doesn't count. It's got the high walls because the dogs love to get out and they are not dog friendly. So this is where the puppies spend some time during the day. They actually don't love it. They'd rather be in their kennels, which I'd like to get them off the concrete part of the day. So they come in here typically in the morning. Today they did not. I give them a short walk and then they come in here. Well, on our way over here, the 2 of them had a fight. So I put them in separate kennels. They do that occasionally. They're sisters. I don't know why they fight. I don't know. They used to fight over food, but today they were rolling around in the dirt and they got into a fight. And it wasn't a play fight. It was a fight. So I put them in their separate kennels. And when they're good and ready, they, Punky will jump over the kennel into Lulu's area, and they're fine. So these are my other 3 pastures that I was talking about when I was talking about the 5. So we've just made a circle around the back of the property. We're back in front of those 5 pastures. You can see the sheep over there, sort of. I think they came up front because it was starting to drizzle. This is a water source. I don't use it. It used to have a float and it used to be full and it used to feed cows. She had 1 or 2 cows here, the person that owned the property before me. The sheep won't need it. It's too big. I am hoping to get a milk cow one day. Don't think I'll use it for 1 cow, but we'll see. So we're now at the barn. I haven't talked about this area much, but this is where they used to feed, I assume, cows. But there's never been a lot of cows here. I know that the guy before the previous owner used this whole area for pigs on this side, but I think the other side was used for cows. It's the brother of the guy that owns the dairy across the street from me. So it was one big property and he kind of managed this, is all I know. He lived in the house, but he only lived there during the week and then went home on weekends. So I do have all these rooms that are now, this is Punky's kennel. It's about 10 feet by 25 feet. And here they are together. And then the other ones I used to use for chickens, but with the dogs, I won't put chickens next to the dogs. So this far one over here at the end, I do use for chickens. I'm trying to get away from that because I'd rather the moms just raise them and I don't take them away. So we'll see next time. My plan is to do that. Here come the chickens. They think I have food. Okay, these are my newer, younger chickens. They're not young. They just started laying. And this room right here is where the ducks live, or where the ducks sleep. And the chicken area is quite large. And these are their nesting boxes, which at some point will be replaced. But they use a few and they work. The ones they use are fine. Have you been in here all day, lady? Okay. That one's broody, so I need to move her probably. And here are 3 of the ducks. They're locked in here. This is where I'm going to actually have the broody hens lay their chicks, because they've laid them in the nests, and the nests are too high for the chicks to get out and get back in. So it doesn't work. So what I do is I take the chicks in the house for 2 weeks in a little brooder, and then I put them in that far kennel. And that works well, but it's a lot of work on my part. And then reintroducing them to the flock is pretty traumatic for them. And they stay separated, and they are fearful for a couple of weeks. But here you can see this area is quite large. The chickens have free range. And it's got approximately 100 plus banana trees in here. Many of them do have a fungus, but we just got some good bananas from them. So I was going to cut them all down. I've been cutting them down. I'm still thinking about cutting a lot of them down. I think what I'm going to do instead is, when I find one that has fungus, and the only way I can tell is once it produces bananas, I'll cut that whole grouping down. But I do have a lot that don't have the fungus, and I'm hoping that they'll be able to fight that. What I've been told is, if you cut down the trees with the fungus, the ones that grow after that may not have it. So it's like a 50-50 chance. They either could grow with the fungus or without it. So we're still working on that. But like I said, there's over 100 banana trees in here. And after I finish making this video, I am going to make banana cupcakes with the cream cheese frosting. I think that's what I'm going to make with some of my bananas. And what else can I tell you about the farm? You've now seen the whole farm. Let's see, projects. I could do that. So the next project, like I said, is the movable sheep shelter. Project after that is completing all the doors on the pastures, because some of them don't have doors. And project after that, I know I have one, but I can't think of it right now. But those are the big projects, and then the farm will be running pretty well. I think one of the other things I'd like to do is divide the pastures even more using electric wire, which I should be able to do pretty easily. But it's not something I feel like I need to do, but it would make the pasture rotation a little better. Thank you for joining us this week. If you like this video, please give us a thumbs up. And if you want to follow along as we homestead here in Panama, please hit the subscribe and click the bell so that you're notified when our next video comes out. We'll see you next week. Bye.